The attack on Pearl Harbor happened nearly 80 years ago. One sailor who died in the attack was finally laid to rest in North Little Rock. We brought you the story about Fireman First Class Dan Regan last week. Tonight, Jay Burr brings us more on the ceremony held today as Regan was buried with full military honors. Jay.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Bob. The U.S. Navy actually has a team specialized in identifying remains from those who actually died in the attack on Pearl Harbor. Now, one of those shipmen, as you mentioned, was identified as Fireman First Class Dan Regan, who was actually raised in Forester, Arkansas, joined the Navy at 17. Today, he was finally laid to rest in North Little Rock.
Right.
The U.S. Navy has made it a priority to identify the remains of those lost in the attack on Pearl Harbor. For the USS Oklahoma, they started with over 388 sets of remains unidentified in 2015. They have now ID'd 355 of them. Branch head for the Navy POW MIA, Lieutenant Commander Jory Moore, who is in charge of the project, says it's important to identify those remains even after all this time.
We're not forgotten. It doesn't matter how long ago it was, 80 years, 20 years, we are still working to identify those missing sailors and Marines.
Remains are identified by cross-referencing DNA samples from family members. Fireman First Class Dan Regan served aboard the Oklahoma and was identified in 2019, right before the pandemic. He was finally laid to rest Tuesday at a ceremony with full honors. Lieutenant Commander Richard Vatz of Little Rock says even though Fireman First Class Regan has been gone for nearly 80 years, it's still important for families to have a proper honoring.
It's not just honoring Fireman First Class Dan Regan here. It's also about us being able to move on. And I think going through these emotions and going through the process of rendering honors and firing the volleys, playing taps, folding the flag, it all just helps us move on.
He's been to many military funerals and says the moments are always somber.
Every time I hear the notes on taps, it's just, you know, it's just such a heavy moment.
Lieutenant Commander Vatz says Fireman First Class Regan was a fellow shipman despite the vast difference in years, and the Navy honored the sacrifice he made. Despite practicing the ceremonial aspects of a funeral, it always leaves an imprint to him.
You always acknowledge that heavy emotional toll that comes with it, so it never really does get routine.
And the governor's office presenting a proclamation to the family today, recognizing his service and also proclaiming today as Dan Edward Regan Memorial Day in Arkansas.